You could be in the worst case scenario possible in your reality right now. And you could be telling yourself the total opposite, which is what you actually desire to experience. And you don't even believe it. You don't believe what you're telling yourself, but that's okay. Just know that by you telling yourself these new things, telling yourself what you actually desire to experience is how you change what you're physically seeing. Now that you're here, before we start the video, if you haven't already, I would love for you to join the Discord server that I made. It's a manifestation community where you can find a manifestation buddy, share success stories, get answers to your manifestation questions, and a whole lot more. When I tell y'all, the energy inside of the server is amazing. Like, everybody is doing amazing. I love the conversations that are going on. So if you're looking for a community that you want to join, just look down below in the description. You'll find the link to the Discord server and you can come and join, hang out, kick it, and all that good stuff, okay? Other than that, let's go ahead and get into the video. Something that I was thinking about that I want to share with you all and that I want to motivate you on, not just for this week, but really just for your life in general. I know growing up, in society and with all of this conditioning and stuff, you learn that things are final. You learn that things aren't changeable, fixable, reversible. Whatever is said, it's done. That's what it is. And there's nothing you can do about it. And I just want to let you know that that's not the truth. I know that's what you've been told probably your entire life. I know that's what you've learned. I know that's what you're conditioned to thinking. If you are that person, if this resonates, if it doesn't, shout out to you. I'm so glad that you're not stuck in this type of mindset. But it's just a limitation, okay? Nothing is factual, nothing is final until you decide so. You are the creator of your reality, which means there is nobody, no one, no thing, no entity, no nothing that can tell you something is final, it's not changeable, it's not fixable, reversible, whatever. There's no truth to that, okay? When you are faced with something in your reality, it doesn't matter what it is, it's a circumstance. Everything essentially is a circumstance, okay? And when you're faced with circumstances that you don't like, that you don't wish to experience, that you don't want to have no parts with, your only job is to stop identifying as the version who is experiencing that circumstance. That's it. Your only job is to not identify as that version of you anymore. And instead, identify as the version of you who the circumstance is actually going in your favor. Whatever it is, your physical reality is operating, moving, showing you exactly what it is that you desire instead of what it is that you don't want. Now, trust me, hear me, hear me out. I get it. There are circumstances that show up. There are things that show up in our reality that feel so real. But you know why they feel real? Because we engage with them with our physical senses, our touch, our feelings, our emotions, right? We engage with it. And that's why it feels so real to us, because we feel like it's a real experience. But just think about if you've ever done like a virtual reality experience, right? If you haven't, I highly recommend it because it's so fun. But if you've ever done a virtual reality experience, right? You put this headset on and you get immersed inside of a game. And the game could be whatever. One of the ones that I've done was like shooting aliens and stuff, zombies and stuff. When you are inside of this game, you are so immersed in this game. You are completely involved, completely engaged, and it feels so real, right? And you feel like this is a real experience and your body is responding now. You're jumping, screaming, flinching, whatever. Even though it's just a projection, okay, that you're experiencing with your mind. It's not a real situation, but it feels real. Look at your own physical reality as the virtual reality experience, okay? Everything that you see in your world is just a projection, and it's a projection from you, your thoughts, your assumptions, your beliefs. So because your reality, your world, whatever it is that you see, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it's a projection from you. So if you don't like the projection, then change the programming, change the tape. And the programming, the tape, those are just the thoughts that you're thinking, the affirmations that you're telling yourself. Because thoughts are just affirmations. Whatever you are thinking, That's an affirmation. Whatever you are stating, whatever you are declaring, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that's just an affirmation. You're deciding on something at every moment of your day. And you have full capability of deciding on whatever it is that you want. So there's no reason to ever allow a circumstance to make you feel defeated. That circumstance showed up however it showed up, but it showed up based upon you, based upon who you were being, who you believed yourself to be, the things that you thought, conditioning and programming that you've been exposed to, all of that. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter how it got there. The point that I'm making here is no matter what it is, it's changeable, it's fixable, it's reversible. You can get a completely different circumstance. Okay. And when you're faced with something in your physical reality, I want you to understand, if it's something you don't like, if it's something you don't want to experience, that is an illusion. It's an illusion. And so often we fall for the illusion. We fall in the trap. And because we see it in front of us, we believe that it's a solid fact because it's physical matter. It's in physical form in front of us. So we believe that this is something that we have to experience. We believe that this is our truth. There's no way of changing it. How can I change this thing? How can I experience something different? And then you end up being a victim to your own reality, a victim to your own circumstance. And the only way that it got there was by you. So you can also change it. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing. Because if something was set in stone and something was final, then the parallel reality, infinite possibilities existing right now would be debunked. But instead of it being debunked and being a myth, you continually can find evidence and proof of success stories daily, of people experiencing things that would be considered a phenomenon or a miracle or impossible. Nothing is impossible. It's only impossible because you're perceiving it that way. Nothing is final unless you're perceiving it as final. Nothing is factual unless you're perceiving it as fact. You have the power to decide anything. You have the power to control everything. But it isn't until you accept that fact and accept that you're the creator of your reality, you are in control of your experience, whatever it is, whatever that circumstance is, whatever that thing is that you think is permanent, it's not. Yeah, you may have seen evidence of it being permanent in your reality that was based off a belief that was created through assumption, that was also created through repetition of thought, whether it was repeatedly seeing something happening, repeatedly hearing somebody telling you that this is factual. That's the only way anything in your reality got there, was through repetition. So if you have a circumstance that is in front of you right now, if you have something that feels like there's no way out, okay, you feel like you're in this hole, and how do you see the light? How do you get out of this tunnel? How do you change your reality? How do you change this circumstance that seems impossible to get out of? Stop identifying with it being impossible. That's number one. Nothing is impossible. I've said this before, but if you look at the word impossible, it just says I'm possible, which means I'm possible of doing anything. You are possible of doing anything. You are possible, okay? Anything is possible for you. It literally says it in the word. So no longer identify as the version of you who changing this circumstance, changing this event, changing this thing in your reality, changing whatever it is that you believed was once a fact and final, changing your perception of seeing it as impossible to being possible. And the way that you do that is by telling it to yourself. I know, sounds too good to be true, sounds too easy to be real, but that's life. Life isn't meant to be hard. Life is meant to be easy. We have just been programmed to believe that life is hard. We have been programmed to believe that we have to struggle and things have to get worse before they get better. Those are just limitations. Yeah, they seem real and they play out in your daily life if that's what you entertain, if those are the thoughts that you keep, if that's what you're telling yourself, if that's your story. Yes, you're going to see physical evidence of it and you're going to continue to believe it as true, but that's just you remaining on a hamster wheel. staying in the cycle, okay, of things getting worse before they get better, going through the storm. You got to crawl before you walk. All of that, they're all just limitations. So no longer identifying with those things, all right? And repeatedly telling yourself how it's possible to change this circumstance, how it's possible to manifest whatever it is that you want, how it's possible to have the desire, have the reality that you desire. It's possible. You just start off with telling yourself that it's possible. Tell yourself that it's easy. Okay? And then the next thing from there is to change your complete perception on whatever the circumstance is. Doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if somebody said it's final, that's fact, it's done, there's no changing it. That's a lie. It's a limitation. And if you're going to allow somebody to limit you, then you're not being a conscious creator. You're not being the creator of your reality that you know yourself to be. Because if you're on this video and you're watching and listening to my content or anybody else's content who is speaking from the law of assumption and sharing this knowledge, you know who you are, whether you have accepted it or not. You know who you are. You know that you create your reality. You know your thoughts, your imagination, your visualizations, all of those things. You know that they create your experience. And for us to unlock the ability to know that there are infinite realities, which means there are infinite possibilities, that means whatever version of you that you're being right now that is experiencing this circumstance, there is another version of you that exists right now that is experiencing a completely different circumstance, one that is actually more favorable. And the way that you get there is to identify as that version of yourself. I know that you've been taught to believe that whatever you see in your reality, that's what you have to base your thoughts off of. That's what you have to go off of, okay? That's what's dictating what you believe to be true. But no, your life, your physical reality is not happening to you. It's not just shit in the world that's coming at you randomly, you know what I'm saying? Just coming at you for no reason. Everything exists in your reality for a reason, and you're the reason. You put it there. Whether you want to accept it or not, you put it there in some way, fashion, or form. And sometimes it's not even you. It's conditioning from things that are outside of you, okay? People in your reality that you have given your power to that have now influenced your beliefs and your experience. But the beautiful thing is at any moment you can unidentify with that. You can shift your perspective instantly. And once you shift your perspective, your only job is to remain in that new perspective, because that is now going to be your current state of being. And you must maintain that. You must maintain it. And I mean, maintain it with unwavering faith. All right? Maintain it with unwavering faith. And what that means is you don't contradict it. Whatever the circumstance is, you identify as the opposite. Identify as the version of you who actually, that circumstance is not what I see physically. It's actually what I desire it to be. It's actually working in my favor. Everything actually worked out perfectly for me. Identify as that version, and only identify as that version. So when thoughts come up, when opposing thoughts come up, when physical things in your reality are there in front of you that is trying to get you to fall for the trap and fall in the trick of that's actually not possible, you're lying to yourself, you're being delusional. No, these are all just teachings that you've learned that are incorrect. They're incorrect. You don't see it to believe it in the aspect of, well, I don't see anything changing, so how am I going to change? You see it and believe it because you have changed who you were being first. And I intend that makes sense. I really intend that makes sense. Whatever you see in your physical reality, you think the opposite, you be the opposite, you be the version of you who actually has what they want, who has the desire, who overcame the circumstance and overcame it so easily, so swiftly, so effortlessly. Be that version of you no matter what you see, because you're not seeing this physical to believe it. No, you're believing it first within. And I say that, but you don't have to believe what you're telling yourself. You could be in the worst case scenario possible in your reality right now. And you could be telling yourself the total opposite, which is what you actually desire to experience. And you don't even believe it. You don't believe what you're telling yourself, but that's okay. Just know that by you telling yourself these new things, telling yourself what you actually desire to experience is how you change what you're physically seeing. Because once you've told yourself the new story and you didn't contradict it and you continue to tell yourself the new story no matter what, with that unwavering faith, all right, that circumstance changes. And it could change overnight, instantly, within a week. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what the circumstance is. This video is motivation on not worrying about what the circumstance is, because nothing is fact until you make it a fact. Nothing is final until you make it final. So be the new version of you who has what they want, who overcame whatever this circumstance is, because technically, are you overcoming it? Yes, but you're just identifying as a new version of you. And because you identified as a new version of yourself, your entire reality that is centered around that circumstance has to reflect the new version of you too. And just to make sure that you're comprehending what I'm saying, I want to reiterate this one more time, okay? No matter what the circumstance is that you see in your reality, you are not looking at that circumstance to validate you. You are not looking at that circumstance and basing your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions, and the things that you tell yourself and know to be true based off of the circumstance that you see. That is not how it works. That's what you've been taught, but that is not how it works. Because if you're going to allow a circumstance to show up in your reality and think it just came out of nowhere, and now how am I supposed to change how I'm thinking when I clearly see this as fact? I clearly see this is not working out for me. I clearly see this circumstance is not working out for me. So how am I supposed to change what I'm thinking? That's the point here. The more you continue to think as the person who is experiencing this negative circumstance, this opposing circumstance, the more you will continue to be that person, be that version of you, and your reality has to stay the same, because your reality is always going to match who you're being. So instead, what I want for you to do is, when you see the circumstance, okay, you see the thing that is supposed to be final and factual and it's set in stone, whatever this circumstance is in your reality, I want you to see it, okay? Identify it, acknowledge it. I see that it's there. Acknowledge the fact that you created it in some form of fashion, okay? But most importantly, what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, what is it that you prefer to experience instead? If this circumstance is in front of you, just eliminate logic, okay? Eliminate logic. Eliminate science. Eliminate Google. Eliminate what anybody has told you to be true. Eliminate the ego. Eliminate trying to rationalize this circumstance and ask yourself, what is it that you prefer to experience instead? And once you identify what it is that you prefer instead, identify as that version of you only. And what that means is think as that version of you. Think from that desired state of being. Think from that new circumstance, that better feeling circumstance, because that's how you break the cycle. That's how you get off of the hamster wheel and you no longer have to continue experiencing the same things, the same negativity, the same stuff you don't want to experience day in and day out. That's how you break away from it, because you are no longer going to be the person who is using their thoughts to acknowledge what's in front of them, because that's only going to keep the circumstance there. You're going to use your thoughts to acknowledge this desired state of being, this desired reality, this desired outcome. And that's only how you're going to identify, because your 3D reality can have a slight time delay, okay? It can have a slight time delay, and that's not to limit you, because if you decide against it, that's perfectly fine. But there can be a slight time delay. So it's old thoughts, beliefs, assumptions playing out in front of you. Okay? It's catching up to who you're being. Understand that. So whatever it is, tell yourself it's working out in your favor. Everything is always working out perfectly for you. This circumstance worked out better than you expected it to. Just no matter what, maintain that state of being, okay? I know it's so easy to fall in the hole, fall in the trap of dwelling in the circumstance that's in front of you. I know it's so easy to fall into that negativity. But at some point, you have to cut it off. At some point, you have to stop identifying as that version. You have to let that go. To experience something different, you have to do something different. And that something different is to think differently. Because you're not going to continue to allow a circumstance to dictate who you are, to dictate what is possible for you, and to dictate your story. You're just not going to do that anymore. Please don't. Because you've done it for so long and look where it's gotten you. We don't have to base our thoughts, assumptions, and what is true for us off of what we physically see, unless you decide so. So, from this video, I intend that whatever this circumstance is, I want you to understand it's not final. It's not set in stone unless you decide so, unless you say so. I don't care about another person, thing, article, whatever. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. Okay? You have total control. And all you must do is take a deep breath. Okay? Inhale and exhale. Because I know a circumstance can really overstimulate you. It can really drive you crazy. Inhale, exhale, and tell yourself everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to work out perfectly for you because it always has, it always will. And remind yourself of who you are, okay? There's nothing that's impossible. There's nothing that is final until you decide so. So stop giving your power to a circumstance. Stop falling for this illusion, this trick, okay? Because it's depleting your energy. It's depleting your power. And take all of that back and remind yourself who you are, okay? Remind yourself that you are a powerful being and you have full control over this entire experience. Whether you realize it or not, you have full control over this entire experience. And if you want to test it out, test it out. Tell yourself a different story about something. Something just random, irrelevant, just pick something, okay? And tell yourself a new story. Talk to yourself in a different way and watch the outcome that you get. Your physical eyes are just showing you an illusion, okay? They're showing you a trick. Close your eyes, detach from this circumstance, tell yourself a new story, and stick to the new story and watch things change in your favor. So, if you have any questions or comments for me, please leave them down below. If you are interested in getting any type of coaching with me, I do offer a 5-email coaching package, and I also offer 30-minute and 1-hour phone calls. They are either voice or video. You have the option. I also have options for packages if anyone is interested, like in doing monthly check-ins. The link for all of that stuff is going to be in the description below. If you have any questions about coaching or anything, you can ask me in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back with you. I also have a YouTube membership. I have 2 tiers, and the group coaching one seems to be the favorite one. We do weekly live streams. You get videos made to your specific submissions, and you also get one-on-one coaching with me via Discord in the DMs, and you also get everything that comes in the Creator Circle tier. But if you want to know about all of that information, just look in the description below. If you watch this video until the end, I appreciate you so much, and I will see y'all in the next video.